Hello, Old School Gamer 1971 here, greetings one and all, especially to you, Millie and Lloyd. Today my third hour thoughts is on Yakuza 0. I've been playing this game for around 3 hours and this is what I think. Yakuza 0, developed by Sega, was an adventure game and came to the PlayStation 4 in 2015. Yakuza 0 is a prequel. It doesn't really matter if this is your entry into the series or you've played other entries, it will all make sense by the end. This is therefore chronologically the first part in this 7-game epic saga. This is a PlayStation console exclusive, and having played them all and knowing that 3, 4 and 5 are on the way, this is the perfect time for anyone to pick up the series, either for the first time or as a return. The development team have worked on other Yakuza titles, Shenmue, and soon to be added Judgment, which is set in the same universe as Yakuza. I wish they'd do more of their own stuff, as Sega has such a talented team that develop a wide variety of IPs. So what's it all about? Yakuza 0 is set in Japan during the 1980s. As I said earlier, it is a prequel to the Yakuza series, with many of the same characters from the first game, Yakuza Kiwami on the PS4 and Yakuza on the PlayStation 2. It was a free title a few months back on PlayStation Plus. Kiryu and Majima find themselves embroiled in a story of murder and are seeking the deeds to a piece of land called the Empty Lot. As different families within the Yakuza are in a power struggle to get the deeds, with a promise of a head seat within the Yakuza. When a body turns up on the empty lot, Kiryu stands accused. When a person he collected from earlier in the evening turns up dead. When he finds out about the fight for supremacy and a plot to expel his family's head, Kazama, he is incarcerated at the game's beginning. Kiryu leaves the family and starts a journey to clear his name. Majima runs a cabaret club. He too is in exile from the Yakuza after failing a hit a year earlier. Whilst the club is a success, Majima realises he's nothing more than a prisoner for his shortfall. One day, a member of the Omi Alliance offers him a way back to the Shimano family by assassinating Makoto. Things run awry when he's forced to lie after someone else takes her out. So is this Yakuza 0? Entry into the underbelly of the Japanese underground, or Yakuza 0, the fisticuffs behind the bike shed so Tisha doesn't break it up. How goes the intro? When it loads up, we're treated to an amazing montage made from the cutscenes from the game. Some of these look really cool and makes you want to find out what the hell is going on. So then we start the game and we're treated to the game's intro. You are standing above a beaten man. He begs for you to stop. His clothes are covered in mud and grime. You kick him to the face. You then take the debt from his wallet and throw his wallet near his head. You head into the city. There is a drunk young man trying to pull a young lady. Kiryu accidentally knocks him to the ground. The young man starts to threaten Kiryu. He looks into Kiryu's eyes and decides better of it. Kiryu has blood spatter on his face and he hasn't even noticed. He goes to deliver the money to the debt collector he was working for. The debt collector offers Kiryu not just a bonus, but a job. Kiryu declines at first, but takes the bonus in the end after some persuasion. Heading back into the city, you finally notice the blood spatter and wipe it off your face. This is an outstanding opening. If you include the montage, even without it, it is still very interesting. Okay, is this a looker or a bit of a munter? Okay, for once I will start off with a little negative, as it is something I noticed from the first cutscene, so let's get it out of the way. Whilst the graphics overall are pretty damn fine, the problem is the cutscenes. The mouth of the characters talking doesn't move. It quite took me out of the game the first time I saw it. A couple of cutscenes later and it was fine. The graphics on the city do look good, up to Yakuza's normal standard. Not quite as good as latter installments, but not too shoddy none neither. It is bright and filled with neon signs, but it's the characters' graphics that look the part. The detail in their faces is damn good. You can tell it's an earlier PlayStation 4 release 2015, but it's still a good looking game. So let's have a little chat about the sound. Again, this is good. It sounds like a sitter. The arcade is a pleasure to hear also. For me, the sound is more important than the graphics when it comes to atmosphere. The music sounds like an arcade game during combat. I also like the grunts, laughter and gestures from the conversations. Not all conversations are spoken. That is where the gestures and sounds come into play for emphasis. As well, worth a note, the whole game is in Japanese voiceover with English subtitles. I find this adds to the atmosphere and obviously more natural to the game. I mention this as if subtitles are not your thing, then this game might not be for you.
あんたもヤクザなんだろ。だったら俺らがヤクザになるのを止める資格なんてねえじゃねえか。桐生。俺たちはずっとあんたの背中を見て育ったんだ。いい車乗って肩で風切って周りの人間に頭下げられて。
So how exactly does the game play? Combat is pretty much Virtua Fighter with weapons. There is something beautiful about picking up a push bike and beating an enemy down. So we get attacked by 3 Yakuza, men in black, or hooligans, or as I like to call them collectively, a-holes. So a-hole comes at us swinging. We pick up a bike and take him down. A-hole B goes to kick us, and the bike breaks first hit, but don't panic, we still have the back wheel in our hands, so we wrap that round his head. Suddenly we're blindsided and with no weapons in our hands as A-hole 3 comes towards us. Fast as lightning we switch to brawler. We knock him to the floor, he is still moving, we slam his face into the floor. This might happen often, but not too often for me. I like the combat, it feels natural. The joypad is mapped well, both inside and outside of combat. Moving around the city is easy enough. It does take a while to learn where everything is located, but with a lot to do, it won't take long. In fact, we do have a downer here. The camera, whilst not game breaking, is a bit of a problem. It doesn't always have the best camera angle, and it does move a little clanky when you move it. Fortunately, it doesn't happen that often, but is noticeable when it does. So how are those characters? The main characters look so good, with the body tattoos especially, but it's the attitude of the Yakuza bosses that makes the game for me. The story we will discuss a little more later is really accented by how different their culture is compared to ours. It's the plight of Kiryu, who's trying to protect the owner of the orphanage and Yakuza boss Kazama, who hears from another boss that the orphanage is how Kazama finds all of his henchmen. He insinuates that the only reason Kazama owns the orphanage is to do this. However, there is a cutscene earlier where Kazama had beat you and your orphan brother Nishiki down. Kazama tells you you can never become a Yakuza, for Kiryu to reply to Kazama that they look up to him and the Yakuza for their code and the future it brings you. Remember people, this is only supposed to be a beat 'em up with an adventure flavour. It struck me as I played this that that statement is false. It is actually an adventure with a fisticuffs flavour. so is the atmosphere in full force. This for me is the game changer. I've liked the Yakuza games so far, but by far this is the best story. And once I've gotten over the little hiccups, this really pulls you into the Yakuza story. Also explains why some of the characters' reaction to Kiryu in Yakuza. Add the city graphics, all round sound, we have a solid atmosphere. As said earlier, the different cultural differences, seeing how it all plays out, all of this to me shows that you don't have to change a lot for a Western release. You need English subtitles and to have written a compelling story. Yes, it does help that the game plays well. It's the arcades, it's the subquests and karaoke bar that make this world a playground that I want to play in. So does it warm my cockles after 3 hours? Yes it does. Count my cockles well and truly warmed. The game as a whole, I felt before I played this, I was so sure they would ruin Yakuza Kiwami, especially with the lips not moving on cutscenes. Then I got over that and it started being exactly what I expected. It explains so much about the later entries. It's got arcade games, a space area, so there's all my money gone and sorted. Side quests that span the whole city and beyond. It was another game that I don't want to leave. I would say that if you're looking for a game or series of games that have combat and a story straight out of like 70s and 80s martial arts movies, then this is your game. This is a great game, and having played them all, it is a great series of games, and look forward to 3, 4, 5, 6 and Judgment. So Yakuza 0 is an entry into the underbelly of the Japanese underground. So that about wraps it up. I hope you all have a good day. If this has been helpful in any way, please like, comment, share and subscribe, as it helps the channel grow and makes an old man very happy. I post new videos every week. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. Old School Gamer 1971 signing off.